Step one, we're good space. All right, so first of all, welcome everybody. Thanks for coming out. We're going to start generic, and then we're going to dive deeper into getting to know you, all three of you a little bit more. But we'll start with Miss Smira. How are you seeing? You work a lot in D.C., but you touch Virginia and Maryland as well, right?
Yes.
And D.C. market is different than the other two, but I'm curious just to get an overall temperature check. What do you see in the market? What are you feeling right now? What's your team seeing? And you can change it in D.C. and the two surrounding areas if you'd like to, or meld it in. But how have you been seeing the market the last couple months from your prism, through your eyes?
Well, before I answer that question, I have to thank you for inviting me.
Oh, yes. So sweet.
And I just love how you do these top agent takeovers.
Good.
You're so committed to your company and such a great CEO, so you all are lucky.
Oh, thanks, Jenn.
Yes. Now, on to the question. That was not a part of the questions.
No.
So, okay. So what am I seeing in the market? I think that the market is very segmented, and it depends where. And
Absolutely.
if we're just talking about DC, and you look at a lot of the listings, we all see a lot of condos, right? There's a lot of condo inventory that is sitting, and so the condo market has been suppressed. I think that's attributed to, there are layoffs and then also the rates. So when you're looking at like 1-2 bedroom condos, they become very expensive, and it's costs less to rent than own, whereas years prior it was opposite.
Yes.
But we are seeing a lot of movement in like the upper bracket, so $2.5 million up, and we're seeing a lot of our clients move out to Virginia and into Montgomery County.
Excellent. Good stuff. Miss Young, how are we seeing things?
Thank you, Donny, for having the event and inviting me. Since Jenn said that, I have
to. Thank you, Carolyn. Hey, Carolyn, also, this panel, it's been a little bit hexed. So we had somebody have to back out last minute. Last Friday, I called Carolyn, and she was here to save the day. So Carolyn, thank you for hopping in. We were advertising somebody else for a while. But we had a last minute substitution. So thank you, Carolyn, as well. So yes, the market. What are we seeing?
So of course, I have been through quite a few market changes. So it's about 33 years now I've been in the business.
How many?
It is 33 years.
Whoa.
Isn't that crazy? So
Yes.
I started when I was
Very crazy.
15. But so
I was going to say 10, but okay.
But we go through changes all the time, like every 5 to 8 years. So what I'm seeing right now is it's a change. I don't think it's nothing that we've had much harder changes like 2008, right? So right now we're just seeing a more balanced market. A lot of people, especially if you came in a few years ago, we were seeing things flying off the market. Your buyer the lifespan of your buyer, they had to put a contract in. You might be working with them 30 days. Well, they have more to pick from. The listings have to look better to sell, and the buyers might need more value from you to buy.
Absolutely.
But there's a lot of real estate to be had, and I think that, it's still a great market to take advantage of, because it's very easy when the market requires the agent to give more value. It's so easy to do the basics of value and stand out amongst your competition. That's what I'm seeing.
It's a great point. It's also a little bit sad, right? That doing the basics can make us stick out. Which is not you all, because you're here educated and want to get better.
It's like you're in a room with great people here trying to learn, trying to do things. But let's face it, the majority of the real estate industry, the agents don't put the dedication and the work into it. So it's easy to meet a client and they're like, wow, you're different. So.
And I think the point you made there was too with this balanced market is that for a few years we were spoiled, and David hit on that earlier in 2020, 21, 22. Not that we didn't work hard, but it was a different kind of working hard. Whereas now, if you're doing things the right way, the cream will rise to the top, and you're going to get that business, because you have to show you're a true pro nowadays on both sides, right?
Yeah. So I see, even over the last year, as you know, we've had a lot of growth since we've been with Samson the last couple of years. But, but even from last year to this year, we're up, I think, 30%. But it's because it's so much easier to stand out.
There you go.
Clients require more, everything's more work, but guess what? We make good money when we get paid.
No doubt. It's good business when you get those closings, right? Mr. Karriem, what are you seeing out there?
Oh man, well, I would say that I think that people got to remember that real estate is hyperlocal.
Yep.
Okay, so not every street or block or city is going to be the same. So actually honing your craft and wow. So,
Yes.
but, like you said, being, skilled, becoming a skillionaire, you're going to,
Skillionaire, I
you're
like
going
that
to,
one.
you're going to
Write
stick
that one
out.
down. Somebody, skillionaire.
Honing your craft. You can't just put something out there like you could back in, the COVID days and have everything, fly off the market. You actually have to, price it accurately, because there's also a lot of, price awareness.
Sure.
What somebody is paying, $4,000 a month for now is, what somebody was paying $3,000 a month for 2 years ago.
Absolutely. So you gotta price it appropriately, present it, all those things in this market today, definitely. So, what do you think the driving factors are in today's market, and has that changed at all in the last couple of years? I'm going to start with Ms. Smira over here.
Yes. I would say that the biggest driving factors that we're seeing right now are the number of properties that are being bought and sold off market. And with that, whether it's top
Do you
agent...
think that's good or bad?
You want to get into this?
No, I don't want to get into it that deeply, because I understand we may differ from these things, and I don't want to make it
here's my
adversarial,
point.
but in general, do you think that's good or bad?
I think it depends on what the client wants and if the client's open to it. I think it should be the client's decision.
You want us to have a tactful debate up here? No, I'm just kidding.
I know.
No.
And for the longest time, I was like, it's not in the client's best interest. The property has to go into MLS so everyone can see it. But with the platforms that are made available to us agents, whether it's Top Agent Network, first up, hello? Oh,
Yep.
thought you cut me off.
Yeah.
I saw him do that.
Good boy, Justin. Cut that mic. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So Top Agent Network, First Up. What's another one?
We're using
Compass, the private exclusives.
Yep, for yours.
These are all platforms that are designed for that very reason. And if you take it a step further, you then have, and if we're going to get political, you then have NAR and Bright or MLSs that are prohibiting us from. He's smiling at me. Taking it a step further.
Yes.
Do you want me to keep going?
Go ahead, Jen.
You're not going to like what I'm going to say next. So Robert Refkin had an op-ed. You probably read it. Did you read it?
I did.
And I know you're a girl
Do I
dad.
take
You have
the gloves
athletes.
off? No, I'm
Yeah.
just kidding.
No, but it was a really
No.
good comparison. And if you haven't read it, it's an Inman. It's a very good comparison that this, for realtors, what's going on with NAR and MLS is our college sports moment, our NCAA moment. For those of you, the NCAA made billions of dollars off the backs of a lot of these athletes. And if you look at what's happening with us, we have MLS, NAR that allow our listings to be sold to these third parties. I mean, how many of you in this room have active listing right now? Okay, so that's like 85%. How many of you paid for your photography? How many of you spent more than 5 hours prepping that home, right? What if they paid us a small fee to then advertise our listing? Would that be cool? Mic drop.
But Jen, that's totally unrealistic.
Why? Why does it have to be unrealistic? We
Because-
are entrepreneurs.
Okay.
We spend a lot of money. And look, I know there's a lot of people who benefit through.
What would be the difference of me having a syndication of my website? Am I going to pay you to put it on my website? So then it's like, I don't think that could happen.
It's a monopoly, though.
It is.
It is.
I don't know.
It's a discussion. That's all I'm saying. It's a discussion.
It's a monopoly, but since you opened this can of worms, all right, so
Respectfully.
and I'm going to be respectfully back to it. So you're sitting at Karriem's your seller, and you're sitting at a table with Karriem, and Karriem's got a great home, and you're going to put that home in the market for $1.5 million.
Okay.
I want it seen everywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what Karriem's going to say.
Yeah.
Explain
And
to me the argument
okay.
for I'm going to expose it to, no matter what it is, 5, 10, 25% of the market, depending on the county that you're talking about with the people that are going to see
Yeah.
that. How is that better for me to only get 20% or 5% or 10% of the realtors to
Yeah.
see it and the clients, as
I
opposed to if I put it in this system tomorrow? I mean, if I'm only going to get this front corner of the room to see it, I might get 1.5 million. But if I let everybody in this room see it, I've got to get 1.6, 1.7 million. Or at least my chances are a lot better, right?
I understand that.
Yes.
It's a very, very good point.
Thank
I think
you.
it depends. I think it depends on what Karriem's goals are. I mean, a lot of the time that we're utilizing these off-market platforms, again, TAN, First Up, whatever it is, a lot of times we're able to market and put the property out there to gain interest.
Yep.
Sometimes you get more than one party interested. Sometimes you have 5 parties interested, and you are achieving a result where I could get Karriem more than 1.5. So it's situational.
What's your best chance to get 5 people interested? If those 20 people can see it, or these 200 people?
I know what
If
you want me
get
to
five,
say.
If you
No.
get 5 out
Yeah.
of 20%, or if you would get
Look,
a lot more.
exposure-
It's not about what I want you to say. I think if we're being honest, less than 1% of people truly don't want their homes seen by everybody because they are private, or a athlete, or
Yeah.
whatever, or
Yeah.
a politician that doesn't want, whatever the case may be. I just think that, look, I believe at Samson, full transparency, if you put your homes in Real Scout now, you are in our office exclusive network. So it's not that I don't agree with the idea of visibility, but my words to everybody would be this: look, I think you should get it exposed. I think you should go coming soon. I think that the 1, 2, 3 that you're going to tell me, or the A, B, C, and I know all these things, right? Is that my only point would be exposure is great. Interest, excitement is great. I would never sell it, almost never sell it until step 3, because now the whole room can see it.
Yeah.
And I've got to think that improves my odds dramatically. But respectfully, we can disagree.
You're not wrong. You're
Thank you.
not wrong. You're not wrong. And I hear you. I think that we should be able to promote a listing without accruing days on market if the seller is open to that. Do we all agree?
But no. But
Personally, in my opinion,
Yes.
we're
And-
supposed
and-
to be talking about what
and
people can
I
do,
don't want to
not
do
a
this.
debate
No.
about how.
And I don't want to do it anymore. And I think we can agree to disagree on some
But
of
I
these
think that's the
points.
biggest thing that I'm seeing. Like
You're
I'm
seeing
seeing
more
right
office
now.
exclusives.
I'm seeing more
That was
office
where the- that was where
and
the
I'm
question
seeing
started.
more and more people utilizing Top Agent Network, and I'm seeing like more.
You're seeing some of
I'm
that.
seeing a lot more of that than I have in the last 12 months.
Okay.
So I'm having to stay above and like really look.
You're having
into
to
it.
make sure
I'm
that
having
you
to have.
that you use these avenues, because in your business anyway, you're seeing that hit more than it has before.
Yeah, and I'm seeing like our buyer agents find properties through Top Agent Network and these other platforms. So
I think
it's
as a
something I haven't had to do
as
in
a
the past.
buyer agent, I would be all in that stuff, because my perception is if I'm a buyer agent and I find that, I'm getting a better deal than I would have gotten if that went on the market.
Yeah.
In full
Yeah.
transparency. And I'm not.
Yeah, no,
I'm not saying either way, but if I were a buyer, great, I would be in Real Scout or First Up or TAN or
Yeah.
whatever, Compass Office Exclusive I work there, because I think that if I can get that before it goes to the market, 9 times out of 10, I got a better deal. But that's
Yeah.
my personal opinion. Miss Carolyn, what are we seeing? Now, the question really is, we've seen the market, but have you seen anything changing as far as the dynamics of it, or do you see something changing in the dynamics of the market? And Carolyn and Karriem, we're having a conversation, but the mics help too.
Okay.
There you go.
So I think that the changes we're seeing in the market that are helpful to what is happening in today's market, mainly it's AI, right? Like, because we're using AI now to deep dive property evaluations, so we can make sure any of them off-market listings are in our data.
Yes. Yeah.
But no, so that you're able to make sure that you have everything that is non-MLS too. And then, using it to help prepare emails, and, we use it for everything. And now everybody else is using it. I went on 3 appointments last week. Someone found us on Grok, on Perplexity.
Oh, wow.
I said, how'd you find us? Perplexity, Grok, ChatGPT. So people are searching now.
crazy.
So I'm finding that it's really important, and mainly it's your profiles, like, with Zillow, et cetera, Google, that feeds all the information to them when they're searching for an agent.
It's more important than ever, because you're right, they are finding their agents using that AI, and the AI is not going to find you unless you do things to help feed it so that they can find you and they can find that information. I mean, frankly, I went to go in the chat and ask them some stuff about top brokerages, and I wasn't happy where they did and didn't find us. So we need to do a better job of lifting our profile so we're seeing more. So I think that that's
Yeah.
an element that wasn't there before.
Yeah.
Karriem, what are you seeing I know we talk about how the market is or isn't, but as far as dynamics shifting, is there anything new that's come into the market that is changing the way you are or aren't doing business in the last few months?
Yeah, so I would say that I connect to, my buyers and sellers in a different way now than before, because with COVID and, lower rates, sometimes it was just like, it was not like it was an easier time to just like decide, all right, well, things are great, it might be a time to sell.
Right.
Like now I find myself trying to find the D a little bit better, like the reason they're moving, or like whether it's a death, a divorce, diapers,
Yes.
dollars.
When he said a D, that was the
Diamonds.
D.
Diamonds, yeah, so like
Diamonds, death,
diapers, divorce,
diapers. There you go.
deployment,
Yes.
sort of connecting.
That's a good one, right?
Yeah, you got to find the D.
Karriem, by the way, Karriem's got a lot of diapers recently. I found out this about Karriem in the short time we got to know each other. Karriem, how many children do you have?
I have 4 daughters, 6 and under.
4 daughters, 6 and under. So many diapers in that house.
Oh my gosh, I got this call that was like, hey, do you want to come speak at a panel? And in the background, I get screaming. I was like, get me out of here. Get me out of here right now. So I literally.
So Karriem's happy to be talking
Yeah.
market changes and all
I
that
don't
kind of fun
speak in
stuff.
public, but guess what? I will to get away from.
So Carolyn touched on this, and I'm curious to jump into AI. And we had Jason was great on AI this morning, and I know Austin touches on some of that in his speech coming up next, or his presentation. What are some real ways that you're using AI today in your business, whether it's been beneficial in your business, and is there anything unexpected that's come from it that, I guess, that you didn't expect, but I just said unexpected? Is there something that's maybe you didn't even see coming, but it's really helped you in your business? I'll start with you, Miss Office Exclusive.
Still like me?
Yes, of course. That's the great part about us. We can have respectful debates, and we're still buddies. Yes.
So we're implementing and utilizing AI in every facet of the business right now. In fact, we just completed a 6-week.
Give us some real examples,
course.
because
Yeah.
you are a powerful team. You've got a great team. I know that we're at the marketing video right here. I'm pointing out right now. But to regular agent who's either solo agent or
Yeah.
small team out there, what are some real things that you guys have done to improve your business?
So they're utilizing AI to enhance the activities that they're already doing.
Perfect.
Not using it, this is what gets me fired up, not using it to replace your brain, your voice, your thoughts. Just like if you need like additional statistics, or you need to know like additional rankings, or you're going up on a listing appointment, you really want to know where you stack up, or your brokerage stacks up. Like you
Absolutely.
guys dominate, So you could really utilize it to just sharpen that email or get a few more nuggets and data points, and that's how a lot of the team members are utilizing it.
Yep.
But they are not using it to craft an entire email to the seller summarizing your listing appointment with all the different emojis and the dash.
Take those out.
Yeah.
It's clear that you used
So I
AI.
can tell you like the don't part, but it's so helpful when you can use it as just another prompter.
Yep.
It's just like and you need to ask, I call her Rosie. You need to ask Rosie, like
Rosie.
the right questions. So
Yes,
that's one way.
good.
And then with our marketing, of course,
Yes.
it's just giving like an additional layer of inspiration or thought, and we're able to work more efficiently.
I'll tell you, because the world is endless, and I've been at some of these things at Jason this morning, and RAS Media, I was there a couple weeks ago, and there's so many things that people, it's like, wow, I can't even like scratch the surface. But is there anything you got? Go ahead. You took a deep breath.
No, I want to hear your question.
Well, no, I was going to just pivot to Karriem and see if he's using it all in his business at all.
So, yeah, we use it like.
Great. You know what Karriem's not using it for?
The microphone. Yeah, some of the design stuff, like taking pictures and looking at it and
Sure.
having it design something, and generally maybe not showing that to the client, but maybe making the suggestion that AI helped us with.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that I spend a lot of time now trying to disprove it to clients, to be honest.
Oh, that's good.
I'll have clients like, after we leave a house, we're going to discuss, because the people are actively watching through the Ring doorbell.
Sure.
We're going to discuss, the offer, and they'll send me back like, hey, this is sort of the offer I want to make. And I can clearly tell that it was an AI put together offer
Right.
that, it's throwing in all of these things where, I've got to disprove this. Like, hey, I'm smarter than AI, even though, I'm not, So I'd say I spend half my time disproving it, and the other half, we will implement it like with, inputting a picture
Sure.
and getting how it will turn out, and then just like sort of making the suggestion ourselves.
Excellent. That's a good point. So one way that I've used it is we all get fired up in our business, right? And sometimes somebody's doing it. There may be, there's a couple of times I've been like, you start typing that email back, you're like, all right, take a breath, maybe take a walk. And then I'm like, all right, I put that email in and I take it and I don't send it. And I put it in chat and I'm like, all right, make this sound a little bit less pissed off, a little bit more professional. And they go, but keep that I'm a little bit pissed off in there, And it comes back, it's like, yeah, nailed it. All right, let's go in there. Keep that edge in there, but not too much, right? And there's been twice it probably kept. For me, it was negotiations on an office that we were looking to, and I was a little frustrated and a little upset, but I was like. And the tone that it came back in showed that I didn't like their response, but at least kept the conversation going because it wasn't what the Donny response might have been 6 months ago, right? So that worked for us. Miss Carolyn, I'm going to pivot a little bit, all right? So share a story where you did something that went against maybe the typical industry sales tactics, but it worked out, a lot better than maybe you anticipated. I like to put Carolyn on the spot with the hard questions because I know she can answer them.
I didn't want that one.
You didn't want that one?
No.
Carolyn raised her hand. She said, I got this.
I looked at your questions. Jeffrey, what did we say on that one? There was a couple of different ways. Where's Jeffrey? What did we say on that? You forgot too. So I was thinking,
They all forgot, so we're going to think of something right now.
I didn't know what questions, but you said, so what have I done that's a little bit against the grain?
Uh-huh.
I think that for me, because I've had a lot of experience in the industry. Well, no, let me go from, I got to think about that.
That's all right. We can come back to that one.
Come back to it. Let me think about that.
Karriem, I got a new question for you.
Oh, no.
All right.
Oh, no.
There we go. All right. First thing he's going to do is this.
I had a good
all right.
one for it.
Karriem hasn't seen these questions at all, so this is going to be off the cuff. Actually, you know what? I'm going to ask Jenn first. Can I give you a second to think about your answer? All right.
Sure.
Okay.
Jenn, we drop you off on an island, right? And we did this a little bit earlier with
That's
John. We start you somewhere new. What are the first three things that you would tell somebody to build your business from scratch? What are the most important?
Well, I did start my business from scratch.
We all did at some point, right?
Like total scratch.
But
which
if
I'm
you
sure
got moved to an area where you knew nobody,
So I would.
we drop you in Texas
Yeah,
tomorrow.
and sometimes you daydream and you're like, oh, where could I move and what would I do? And I love real estate. I would affiliate. I would find a top team.
Okay.
Like I would do this.
She wasn't
I would
even
do
here when
this
John
today.
said that this morning.
I
either.
would do this like today. If I had to move to Hawaii, wherever, I would identify a top team
Yep.
with a top team leader, like a top team leader that I could feel like I could work with. And I would go after every opportunity. I would say yes to everything. Like I'd have to learn it's a whole new environment. Like if you're moving to California, like they have earthquakes. Like homes have to be certified for earthquakes. If you're moving to Texas, there's minerals. Like we don't have any of that stuff.
I think you made that up.
No,
I'm just kidding.
No, I think there are minerals. I think there are. So that's what I would do. I would find, and I would say yes to everything. Yes to home inspections. Do you need a showing? Yes. Do you need me to write a contract? Yes. And I would just say just yes, yes, yes until I really understood that new market. Because we know how to do the business, but it would be really I'd go to a top team. I'd work with someone
Say
like
yes.
Caroline.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's, it's important because Karriem, Carolyn, Jenn, they were all brand new once. I mean, you see them up here now with all this success and all these sales and these great teams, but it's the fundamentals that got you there. Jenn Smira would be dropped somewhere and say, I'd join a team so that I could learn from, and I would say yes to everything. And if you're not where you're at in your business, are you saying yes to everything? Or are you jumping in or doing all the stuff? That's how you build a business. When you talk about sales, look, and Meredith's still here, my beautiful wife, and she remembers back when we were, just starting, and you'd have days where I'm showing houses from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. on a Saturday, and that's because you had to do all the reps. You see, you sold it. There's a million steps to get there, and you got to do the hard work to get there. So you start from scratch doing the hard work.
So I think I got something.
Okay. She's going to answer the next question, then this one. She's going to go back to that.
So this is the thing. I got to answer that one. But I think that something that goes against the grain in the industry,
Yep.
that most people do, and it's something that we have just embedded in my team in the last couple of years not to do. And everybody has a habit of over-qualifying buyers and sellers. And they never should. It's like Jen's saying, I'd go do the home inspection. I would go. Someone wants to go see a house. There's no, are you pre-approved? Do you have your letter? No, you go meet them. They want to sell their house. Oh, are you selling now? Is your husband? Are you both going to be there? None of that. They want to talk to you, you go meet them. Everybody you meet is an opportunity. Even if they're upside down in equity or they can't move or they're not moving for 2 years. If they say, oh, we're not moving until my son graduates in 3 years, go see them.
Right.
Go see them, be the best you can be.
Build the relationship.
Maybe they'll refer
Start it.
someone else to you. Like, you just know qualifying. Everybody you get a chance to meet, you go meet.
And that's important. And I think that we get to a place that it's like, oh, well, it's because of COVID, or it's because we wanted to make sure we were safe. And most of that stuff's not real, right? It's because we want to be lazy. We only want to go if it's the A+ opportunity. No, go. Start the play. You don't know what's going to come
What's
from
that West Coast offense? Just throw the ball. Just keep
there
going.
you go. Well, close, Carolyn.
I don't play football.
Karriem, we dropped you in Texas. What are you doing?
Oh man, she stole like literally my whole business playbook. I mean, I come from the restaurant business, so like I was
Okay.
literally waiting tables. They told me that I should try real estate, and 3 weeks later I was licensed, and I legitimately did absolutely everything that every different agent out there said to do, and I would pretty much do the same thing. You door knock, you leech on to every top agent at your office. You say yes to everything. You raise your hand. You do all of the things. You probably join a team. You take a terrible split. And
You get off the couch and come do panels just because it's saying yes, right?
Yeah. You say yes to everything, and this is one of those businesses that you absorb. You might be learning something without realizing it.
Yeah.
Practice on other people's clients. Like all of the above will get you to, eventually, to where you need to be, because most people quit before they actually do it.
Absolutely. Carolyn, I skipped over there. You got your 3 things, or at least
So
one?
I would say, like, if I had to, like,
Carolyn first
start-
thinks you should go to Tom Ferry.
I would
earlier in her
start
career.
all over. I would say that your best bet is if you go into a team, everything's done, systems are there. Not all teams, but if I was in Jen's market, I'd go to her team. Right now,
I'd go to her team.
So, but you just
Aw.
you should either want to go to a team or have a mentor. Like he knows with Tom Ferry, and the reason. I kind of reinvented myself twice. When I first got in the industry, I was a single mom, 3 kids, just pushed through. After 24 years, I was doing like 20 million a year. It's not a bad place to be. But then when I got surrounded by a mentor, that was my big growth. So I would say, where we went from 20 million to probably 375 million this year. So it's over 7.5 years.
And I'm going to pause you real quick, and I'll let you finish. Is that, so I've heard Carolyn's story before, and a lot of you guys have, but for 24 years, she was doing good work, but she was at that $20 million level for the
But
most
I
part,
thought,
give or take.
I'm doing 20 million. It's not bad. But then when someone invited me to Tom Ferry, and I don't know, I just fit in with that crowd really quick. And you get around people. You always surround yourself around people,
Yeah.
right? And by doing that, I'm like, how is that person selling 1,000 homes? How are they selling 500? I'm like, they might, then you realize, only thing is just my mindset and having the will to put things together. That's the only
thing
difference.
stopping you was you, and you were like, if they can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
And the other point I wanted to land here was, look, she had a successful career, 25 million a year. That's great. But she was open-minded enough to be like, you know what? If I get this coach, I can go to another level. And there's so many of us out there like, oh, well, I can't afford a coach. If you ask Carolyn Young now how much money she spent on Tom Ferry, it's ridiculous, right? But she would look at you now and say, how could I afford not to? Her career went from this to 10x, 20x, because, now she worked hard to do it, but because she was willing to accept input from outside and help that build her career. So
yeah, and I think
be willing to look outside.
For me, like if I was a new agent, it's kind of the same as when I was a new agent to start. I just, whatever, I would door knock, I would pick up, well then we didn't have the stuff we have now, the yellow pages, make phone calls. I would just call whoever I could get a hold of that might want to sell a home. So I did the same thing when I started with Tom Ferry. I saw someone doing expireds. I said, oh my God, how do you that's easy, because I like stuff with no money in, no risk. So I just made a bunch of phone calls that year, listed 60 more homes, and went from, doing, I think I did 30 transactions the previous year, and then I was at 40, and then I did like 100, like I over doubled it. So it was just from grit equity and making it work. So I would say
grit equity, that's another good one. I like
it. It's like
Skillionaire, grit equity, commission breath.
But you can a lot of people worry too much about what does their social media look like? What do my videos look like? Just get out there and work. Make calls, door knock, do stuff. That's how you make money.
Do stuff.
But I would either join a team, get a mentor. I would immediately start calling expireds and for sale by owners because they're hot. They need to sell now because they just came off the market or they're on the market and not selling. Yeah. And then I would be holding an open house every weekend for anybody I could hold to meet more buyers. And when I had an open house, I'd be door knocking 20 doors around. If anybody did that for 2 months, they would have more business than they know what to do with.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. And I'm going to tell a brief 5-second story. So our late vice president, Bernie Kagan, who was an amazing guy, our first realtor at Samson, my dad's best friend for a long time. He got in the business. He was a career shifter at 40 years old, 45 years old probably, and needed to make money now. He said, how do I dive in? His first year in real estate, he did an open house all 52 weeks. He said, that's free. That's my effort. I can give effort. 52 weeks in a row, he did an open house. That man was Rookie of the Year in MVAR his first year and sold $30 million a year every single year for his career. And he would tell me, I got to do the Bernie joke, except for that 1 year I did 40, Donny. That's what Bernie would tell us. But it started with the basics. He said, I don't have money to spend, but I'll work hard. And he did 52 weeks in a row of open houses. There was snowing, it was raining, it didn't matter. He was going to be there doing an open house, and it built a database that lasted him forever. So, obviously he kept doing it, but it was the hard work. It's blocking and tackling. It's nothing new, right? Those are football basics, Carolyn. It's like throw it long.
Is that part of the West Coast offense?
Part of the West Coast offense. There you go. All right, lead generations. Now, all three of you are doing lead generation on steroids now. You get it. All right, we're good. All right, so we're all doing lead generation on steroids now. But whether it's investing thousands of dollars into lead generation sources or whatever, what do you say is A, the number one thing that's helping generate leads for your team now, and B, if there's something that you could see leaning more into in the future because you think there's maybe a future in more leads in that avenue in the future. Any of you want to jump in and start with that one?
So you're asking...
Where are you getting the most leads now, and do you see there's a place in the future that you could see, if I had your crystal ball, I think I might start leaning into this avenue to generate more leads because I can see a future there. Karriem looked like you grabbed the mic to start with.
Yeah, I wouldn't, about in the future, it's most agents don't lead generate.
Yeah.
Period.
Right.
If you do anything.
They want the business to fall from the sky.
Yeah, so, when we talk about the best methods, the best method is just to do it.
Yeah.
Like write letters, call people. Like I've gotten in the habit of now when somebody pops into mind, I don't write down, call them in a month or whatever. Somebody pops into my mind and I'm wondering how they're doing. I just do it right then and there, and I can tell you that I called a past client December because I passed their house. I've gotten about $8 million worth of business from them this year alone.
Whoa.
Perfect timing, just thinking about calling them. I
Right.
mean, they sold. Now they have a family member that wants to move near their new house. So lead generating, there's all types of methods. You can do pop-bys, you can do letters, you can call, you can bother your family. Really, I just say find your lane, find what works for you, try everything, and just do it,
Yeah.
Take the time, do it.
So, Karriem said an important word. I don't want to go to, he said he called them. Yes. We've become, as a society, as realtors and everything, right? I know it's easier to text. I know it's easier to email. Look, there's a time that's appropriate for that, right? But calling is the lost art that can differentiate you from everybody else that's like, oh, well, I sent him an email. You know what they did to that email? We're really good at swiping right. You're right. We're really good at deleting stuff. Half of you guys have deleted 8 emails while we've been talking up here, right? That's just the reality of where we're at right now. Is at every stoplight, you can see me do 6 of them, right? Half of them are from Sarah. But jokes. But calling builds that connection that changes that. If you had emailed them or texted them, hey, cool, yeah, good to hear from you, Karriem. Calling them and having a conversation led to that connection that led to your business. So I love that. I felt like you got excited over here, so I'm going to let you jump in.
True. Some of my team members are here today, and this is on. Okay. And I'm constantly like, did you call? Like, I've reached out, I'm waiting for a response. Did you call? I sent a text and an email. Did you call? Call. And I think it's also generational. So there's like, there's a little bit of that. But even if you call,
you're trying to say the younger generation.
The younger generation, yeah. But and I'm old school. I'm old school. And my thing is, everyone who knows me is like, I will call you, and if you don't pick up, I call you right back. Like, I am that person. Like, and sometimes I'll call 3 times in a row, but you're going to pick up.
That's crazy.
I know. I'm persistent. But I think it's so important for follow-up. I mean, follow-up is the key in this business, and you can't just hide behind your phone. We can't hide behind our computer. You have to pick up the phone and make contact. Schedule that appointment. Check in. How are you doing? We work our top 50. Our top 50 are your top 50 people in your life who think of you when they think real estate. This can be your friends. This could be your family. These are people who've bought and sold with you, and there's 50 of them. And if you don't have 50, you can start with 10, but that list will grow. And if you reach out to those people every month, you'll do 24 deals annually. And so that top 50 is really what we preach on the team.
She's done billions, so if she has time, you have time.
There you go. I love that.
Just call.
Miss Young, lead generation. What are we thinking? I know you did expireds and for sale by owners.
Yeah, it's a lot of phone calls, but I think when they're talking about calls, it's not like I left a message. I mean, you got to leave like 8 or 10 messages. It's a lot and there's so many people that will even call back and say.
Not in a row like Jenn, though, right?
Actually,
like
twice.
Spread out.
If I really need you, it's 3 times, but I'm always 2 in a row.
Well, I mean, but double dialing always. Don't you? Like,
you double dial too?
Yeah, double, triple dial, yeah.
Yeah, you do that too?
Because if I'm in an appointment.
I'm not crazy.
I think they just became best friends.
No, see?
Yeah, because if I'm in an appointment and someone calls me 2 or 3 times, I'm like, this must be urgent. What?
Yeah. And
so,
excuse me. Yeah. I have to get this.
So you always,
that's
if
my
you
move.
Can't get anyone to answer, you double, triple dial. So
A double dial.
So you were saying, I interrupt you though, but sometimes you got to call 8 or 10 times. And then.
Yeah, you call a lot. But I think for lead generation, I mean, we do, of course, it's at a different level because I've had to build it over the past 8 years from just doing expireds and having 2 agents. So we have the agents pick like 6 things every year that they want to do to build their business on. And there's a lot of different things that you can do, but I think you have to have different pillars. I think, if you want more grit equity that you're not spending money, then it's, making your calls, door knocking, open houses like we talked if I got dropped somewhere. But I think where it's going right now that we're really heavily on is all the trends with all the AI searches and the Google searches. I mean, still over 70% are on Google, right?
Yep.
So getting your account Google verified and doing your Google words and your placement ads and stuff like that, that's where you're seeing a lot coming in now. And a lot of people are on the AI stuff. They think it's going to change very quickly. I don't know. As far as that's where people are going to go. But even if not, they pick it up from Google, and you've got to be on Google. So,
and I think that the one thing I would lean into in this instance before we move on is lead generation is important. And the top 50, I love that idea, is because I think the technology's coming fast, right? And we all worry about, they're going to do this and they're going to do this. And I think that people are going to find things that way. But the one thing that's going to keep our industry going strong is the idea of the connections, the relationships, the calling, building the relationships like you built with those people. Like, the thing that's different between us and Travelocity and just ordering your flight online is that they need somebody to hold their hand. They need a trusted advisor. You need to be that trusted person. David talked earlier about having the knowledge to be able to have great real estate conversations with people. You need to know the market. You need to be able to have that conversation so that you can approach people. Well, you need to be able to build those relationships because that's how you stay current, and that's how you continue to build a business is having the people that already like, know, and love and trust you continue to call you when it's time to sell real estate or refer real estate. And that's a lead generation, but it's almost like it's a keep the people in your circle to keep calling you. It's easier to keep these people loving you than go finding new people sometimes, right? So do all those things you talked about to nurture that database as well. All right, so this is more of a fun one. If you couldn't sell real estate tomorrow, they said they took your license and you got to go do something else. Karriem's going back to being a waiter, I think. But
Never. No offense.
Give me something fun you think you would do if you weren't selling real estate tomorrow.
Oh, man. I think about this all the time.
Without an education. So it's a good question. Well, I think you guys all have track records now that somebody would hire you. But anything that'd be fun that they would do if they weren't selling real estate tomorrow?
I would be screwed.
And Sarah's joked before about that. We're largely unemployable, right? That's why we work for ourselves. A lot of times we didn't get a college degree. I did. But, my dad started Samson and built Samson and all this stuff right from the beginning and didn't spend one day in college. So, if real estate went away tomorrow, you don't necessarily have a career and other things. So, and I think that lock of not having a backup plan sometimes makes you great because all three of these people just kept working hard because they're like, I don't know what the other side looks like, so I better work hard and succeed at this.
So the question to this one is, do we already have real estate experience before we know that? Would we be going to the second job with our experience? Or would we say, what would you do if you weren't in real estate? Like, what would you do? I don't know. Now that we have experience, obviously there's options.
Right. Would you get into this again? No, you wouldn't. Right. All right. So we're going to circle back. We set out where we'd start from the beginning. We've got people at varying experience levels in the crowd here. If you could give yourself, now that you all have, 10, 20-ish, 30-ish years in the business, right? You've got all this experience, you've got this success. If you could give Carolyn, Jenn, Karriem, after 1 year, what would you give advice to them to help them be more successful, quicker? What are some things that, not maybe you failed at, but if you could tell yourself at the beginning, do this better and you're going to have more success. What are some things you wish you had learned sooner in your career? I'll start. You guys can think about it. I wish I had thought about this rule. 91, and now it's 8. 91% of people, and NAR says they like their real estate agent. They had a good experience. They'll use that realtor again. 8% of people, 8, use that realtor again next time in the next transaction. I wish it was 17 2 years ago, then 13, now 8. I wish somebody had drilled the 91-8 in my head from the beginning of my career. I would have done everything differently. I think that I did a good job nurturing my database, but I would have done an excellent job doing it because I would have realized if you get closer to the 91, to keep calling you and referring you, you're going to eat good for the rest of your life. So 91-8 would be my thing. I wish I'd known that stat and drilled it in 23-year-old Donny's head early in my career. Anything you would drop on your 1-year-old?
I think if I had to look back and say what would I have changed and what was a significant change in my growth is not to take anything personally in this business. Like, because you don't get a listen, because somebody doesn't like you, because somebody does better than you, it's you against you always, and don't ever judge because of an outcome. Even if someone doesn't hire, even if you take a buyer to look at 100 homes and they buy a house with someone else, guess what? You learn the market. You have to take the positive out of everything.
I like that. Because it's hard sometimes, right? We've all lost, and it's being inquisitive. And I think it was John earlier this morning with me that said, if I lose something or I don't get it, I'm not bitter, but I literally reach out. And back early in my career, I would do. If I lost a listing, I'd be like, well, why not? But to somebody else, look, I'm okay. I'm good with you. What could I have done better? What was the missing link? And one person said, well, they had a stager. I tell you what I had in every single listing presentation for the rest of my career after that, professional staging consultation, because I wasn't going to lose. But don't take it personally. Try to learn from it. Take the positive in it and move forward. So I love that answer. Anything else you would tell 1-year-old baby realtor Jenn, baby realtor Karriem? What would you tell yourself to help you have a better career?
I think I would have joined a team right from the beginning.
Yeah.
I went in solo agent, and it took me about 10 months to sell my first house.
Yeah.
So I think I might have told myself that, but I don't know. I'm of the weird guild, whatever, Wes. I'm of the mindset that
Wes, I get the feeling Wes probably told him to join the team for 10 months until
no, I joined his team after 10 months,
Right.
and but I think that it's hard for me to think that way because I honestly feel like every failure I had, leading up to this point was necessary.
Yeah.
I started this out, didn't have any kids. Now I'm married with 4 kids, and a lot of the things that didn't work at the beginning, are things that are I believe the strongest parts of my business now. So, I think that question's harder for me. I wouldn't tell myself anything but to buckle up.
Buckle up, enjoy the ride, right?
Buckle up.
And you probably at the beginning never envisioned that you'd be where you are today, business-wise and success-wise, right? So you learned from everything along that way.
Like I said, I was, 24 years in the, waiting tables, 24 years. Like, I got 1 check and I quit my job. Felt like Liberace. I was like, $5,000? Oh my God, I'm rich. Oh my God, I'm rich. Went into that office. I was like, guys, you can't afford me anymore. I'm out of here, Then rent came.
You had to find a second check.
Oh man, I took out a loan.
Oh, I like that story. Jenn, what would you tell 1-year-old Jenn?
So when I first got started, I was actually on a team, and I was fortunate that a lot of those habits were instilled on me in day one. So database, contracts to close person, following up, nurturing your past clients, like that. It would be like so. I would say that part of the business was taken care of. But 1-year-old Jenn, I would have had a better grasp on the financial aspect.
Yeah.
Yes, like understanding truly like all of your deductions, putting your money aside. When you start making money, putting your money aside. I think understanding like that you are operating a business and looking at it that way. Really having your P&L really figured out, understanding your P&L.
Yeah.
That would have been great from the get-go. And every check that went in, I'd sit down with that accountant and just have them go through, and we'd look at the P&L.
Yep.
And then I would also realize that the team leader was paying for everything and I had no expenses. So
Right. So there's a plus there, right?
Yes.
And I think, I'm not going to ask people to raise their hands, but if I'm honest, if I asked you, how many of you sell houses for a living, you'd probably be like, oh, I raised my hand. Where the answer really should be, I'm running my own real estate business.
Yes.
And if you don't look at it that way, then you're not looking at it through the correct path. It should be, okay, this percentage goes to taxes. This percentage goes to marketing. This percentage gets put away for a rainy day because, look, you're joking, but $5,000 seemed exciting at the time, right?
Oh, yeah.
But if we look at numbers, most people in the 4 months between April and August do as much as the other 8 months combined. But how many people put away all the money they make during those 4 months to carry them through those 8 months, right? So we have a cyclical market around here, but run it like a business in which you have to put us up. You're like, well, it's expensive to do that, or it's expensive to do that. Well, it's expensive not to, because you're not getting the full advantage. That's why you live house to house, because you're not running it like a business, right?
And just one more point, and that's where you can really see, and you can visually see that you can afford coaching.
Yep.
That you can afford these things. You can afford the flyers. You can do all of the lead gen. You can afford it, but you need to have it itemized. You need to look at your P&L.
And if you do invest in a coaching or a flyer or a Zillow ad or whatever, then you're measuring that. Somebody that's like, well, I tried it for 2 months, didn't work. Measure every dollar that you spend, and it's not about the short term. Like if you're gonna do newsletters, don't do it for 2 months. Be like, didn't get anything. No, you've got to do it for 6 months or a year. Commit to it, and then look back and be like, well, look, I know it felt $400 a month felt like a lot, but when I look back, I made $20,000 on this $3,000 investment. That's a winner. Let's do more of that, right? So run it like a business, run it like a P&L. I love that. All right, this one might be harder. You guys have all, and you touched on this a little bit, Karriem, so I'm going to lean into you, and hopefully you can think of one. Is there a failure or a setback you had in your career that you're willing to share that maybe you learned something from, and any of the three of you could jump in, that helped you kind of pivoted, and it really helped you in the long run because it was kind of an aha moment that said, okay, I need to do it this way. And I kind of shared a mini one that I lost a listing because I didn't have staging. Okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to add staging to it, right? Because I don't want to lose again. Anything of failure or something you could point to in your career that, you learned from, pivoted, and you're a better realtor from it today?
I spent $30,000 on Realtor.com.
There you go.
And
I'm guessing that didn't work out for you.
not a single deal closed.
Woo.
It was, I didn't even have that much.
You needed Carolyn to close.
I
No,
didn't
I'm
have that
kidding.
much money at the time. I know, and it was, I just, you know what? Nope, I could have spent that on
A lot of stuff.
a lot of stuff. So I,
Diapers.
paid that off, and the next year I decided I took about $13,000. I rented out a movie theater, and I had clients, friends, family. I didn't get to network that much, but I made sure that I captured like all their information, and I actually made good money from that.
Yeah.
Versus $30,000 on Realtor.com.
Right. And I'm gonna lean into that real quick, and then you two can give us your failures, if you're willing to be transparent. But $30,000, and I'll be frank as a business owner here at Samson, and we're looking to do better at this, but I'm guessing you failed at $30,000 with Realtor.com because you didn't have this, and you said the word systems or a better way to answer it. 5, 6, 7 years ago, we dove into Zillow ads, and at one point we were spending 6 figures a month on them at Samson. And we didn't see the fruit out of it because I didn't have proper systems set up. Oh, I can run it, I can divert it to top realtors, and it'll just work out, and they'll give us money back for each one they close. Not if you don't have proper systems in place and proper accountability and all the things that build a proper system. We're working at building it back up that way right now. But if you had, now look, I know Carolyn does a great job with Zillow, right? And she's a fantastic Zillow agent. It's not that online leads don't work, but for you, because you didn't have the right system in place for it, it didn't work. And you pivoted, put that money in places that were comfortable for you, and saw the success. So I love that. Find your lane. You said that earlier too. Miss Carolyn, any failures along the way that we can learn from? She's like, now it's been sunshine and roses over here.
So I think, I don't know, like, I feel like the biggest failure maybe I had was being scared of failure.
Okay,
Right?
that's a good
Does
one.
that make sense?
Yeah.
So when you learn that it's okay and you expect failure, because you can't grow without failure. You can't
Absolutely.
have success without losses.
Yep.
So it's just a numbers game.
Yep.
Maybe you go on 20 appointments to get 1. Maybe you go on 10 to get 2. You just track your numbers and know. Expect that I'm going to meet 10 people and 9 of them aren't going to hire me. That's okay.
Well, you need to get better numbers than that, Carolyn.
I mean, my numbers are better than that, but they weren't when I first started.
I'm sure.
Now
yes.
I'm 9 out of 10, but that's
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it's just accepting
Mic drop.
failure. Accepting failures.
Right. Fantastic. Miss Smira.
I mean, I still have failures.
There
I
you
mean,
go.
I think I have failures, I don't know, probably one a month, one a week. I mean, failure is a part of this work.
Yeah.
Yep.
That is. It is just the way it is. And you're going to fail. You might lose a listing. You might lose a buyer. And every time that happens, you get that feeling and you're just like, okay, that's on me. I know I need to do better. And so it's just, I think it just doesn't go away.
Yeah.
I'm still learning. I'm still constantly growing. I always say there's no comfort in growth. And it's just a part of this business. But I think that for me, that's what I love about it, is
Yep.
because it challenges me. And you said this earlier, I only compare myself to me. And
Yep.
at the end of the day, it's just me wanting to be better and be the best, me versus me, and like how great of a leader
think
I
you're
can
gonna
be to
win.
my team.
I think you're going to win if it's you versus you, right? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
Or lose.
so-
One of the other. It depends on the day, right? All right, close up with this. Projections or thoughts for end of 2025, 2026. What do you think, your crystal ball, nobody's holding you to any of this, but what do you think is going to go on in the next 6, 12 months in our industry? Any kind of, you guys are in it every day, you're looking at it from a higher level than in the grind of selling 1 or 2 homes a month. What do you think happens in this real estate industry? Numbers up, numbers down, numbers sideways? What do you think?
If we're not going to talk about interest rates, I think
You can, but we've talked a lot about that.
But I think we're going to continue to see more of the same, but we're still, like, inventory levels are still low. And so I think, like, we've already saw a rate cut, and
Yep.
I think what we're going to see is, like, right now buyers have the ability to negotiate. I think we're going to see that script flip.
Yep.
In about probably 3 to 6 months.
Okay.
And you're going to see, yeah, and I
bit.
think, and I think.
I mean, we're already seeing it.
Because you're going to see more and more buyers out.
Buyers are going to get back out, and instead of being able to negotiate, they're going to be competing. So
like
there
that.
needs to be urgency now, like right now.
Right.
And I think that's the messaging. At least that's the messaging we're giving to our clients
Right.
who say they're going to wait.
They wait for that perfect rate, and I know we're not hitting on rates,
Yeah.
but you wait around for that perfect rate, and then all of a sudden the perfect rate comes. Well, guess what? Everybody else jumped into the pool at the same time as you did, right?
But we have to make it happen. It's not going to happen for us.
Yep.
You have to get out there and make it happen.
And I think it's those calls. And one thing that I would do is, how many people, and you don't have to raise your hand, but in the last, especially when it was crazy, 21 to 23, 24, right? We had all these buyers that went out there and they lost bids. Those would be the people I'd call today, right? They got disenchanted, they went back into rentals, and they fell off your radar because we typically only deal with what's in front of us today. And we don't have a good rearview mirror, which helps sometimes when we're trying to forget about the downsides. But those are people that they never landed that house. Today's the day to get them out there and get in that house, right? Maybe prices have risen a little bit, but now they don't have to compete. Now they can get back out there. So rekindle some of those buyers that didn't get to the finish line. Carolyn, what do you see? 6 months, 12 months? You said you're already seeing some of that now, the buyer.
Yeah,
flow.
we're seeing it's just pocketed.
Pocketed.
You know?
It depends on the neighborhood, depends on the area,
Yeah,
right?
it's pocketed, but I just think it's going to be more of the same for me. I think the interest rates just don't matter anymore. Like, we're below the average of a 30-year fixed, and I think there's enough people in our market that have money, and it's okay. Like, the house shows well, and it's going to sell. But I just think we're going to see more of the same. To me, it is, a struggle for a lot of people because they don't want to put in the work.
Yep.
But I think, and I'm not saying like that it's me or it's whoever in the market, but anybody here that wants to do the work, it's going to be it's such an opportunity for the cream to rise to the top. So it's easier to take market share. So I just think that it's going to be a great market because of that. So I'm kind of excited about it.
I love that. And poor Karriem, he has to go after you guys most of the time. And Kiki's getting his answers taken by you guys. He looked at me, he's like, dang, that was mine.
No. What I would say is that, a lot of things are going to change for a lot of the other people in our field. I firmly believe, like I said, the D's aren't going to change.
Yeah.
It's just who is in front of the people when their D happens.
Right.
When they need an agent, who's capturing that? Because those other things that are making people move, buy, sell, those aren't changing. People are going to die. People are going to get divorced. People are going to have babies. It just really comes down to who they're calling when those things happened. And, do I got to make more calls? Yeah.
Yeah. And I think a lot of it is controlling your mindset, right? And we're going to close up here. I feel Sarah behind me. It's like a presence that comes in. But it's controlling that mindset. You heard all positivity and interest rates don't matter and it could be there when the D's happen. It's like we sometimes can talk ourselves out of being successful. Oh, the market's bad. Did you see the stat? And this and that. No. People buy and sell every day. And we need to be there to help them, right? You can control, you can gain market share if you're the expertise in your market. So awesome stuff. Sarah, go. She's coming in here. She's got some questions from the crowd.
Thank you guys so much. We've had a ton of great questions, but we're going to have to narrow them down to just a few to keep us in essence of time.
Because I went over.
Does that surprise anyone?
No.
No. Okay. They're loud in the front. They said no. All right. So, guys, think back to your
You get a
defining.
prize.
Could
You
you
get
get
a
a prize?
prize. You get a
Coffee for you.
prize.
Coffee for you. Think back to your defining moment, right? Karriem, you said you were on a team. You start. I'm going to let you go first since Donny made you go last every single time. Think back to that defining moment when you said, I'm going to build my own team. What was it that made you build that team?
Part of it was the feeling at the beginning when I needed help from other people, and it just it wasn't there. And I remember that feeling of being helpless and not having help, and I didn't want anybody to sort of feel that.
So was it because of the level of production you were doing, or the skills that you had, or a combination of both?
Starting the team?
Mm-hmm. When you decided to start that team?
It happened because a lot of people wanted to follow me. And, I just took on, 2, 3 people. I wanted to keep it at that. And then, people were seeing me online, seeing the success I was having, and they wanted to follow. And I didn't want to leave anybody behind. So, this business changed my life unbelievably, can't even begin to tell you, so I want other people to have that feeling, it gets me choked up, but
Yeah,
Love it.
Let's go. I love it.
That's
I love it.
great.
That's what I
awesome.
wanted.
Carolyn, you've had the single career and the team career. What was your defining moment to go team? Same question.
I think it's kind of similar to what he's saying. It's just for me, when I started in with coaching and got myself surrounded by people who were big thinkers, I was like, this is life-changing. And for me, again, with the volume I was doing, I was, bringing in about $500,000 a year, but in 3 years, I was bringing in $3 million. I'm like, this is amazing. So for me, I just love to transfer that mindset and skill to see other people change their lives. I love that. And that's, Donny knows on my team, everybody has to have super hard work ethic and want, they don't have to want to work as many hours as I did, but you got to want to do it, because there's so much opportunity out there. So I don't know. I just like to see other people grow. I like to see people buy extra houses, rental houses, Airbnbs, and you're
Right.
like, it's awesome. So.
Great. Would not just smart people, but good people. Jen, same question. Any defining moment for you?
So defining moment for me was after my first year as a brand new agent. I hustled I did an open house every single weekend, and I got Rookie of the Year at Keller Williams.
you go.
And that moment was like, okay. I share that with you. I was like, okay, I can do this. I can do this. And it gave me the confidence, and I just felt like I had enough transactions under my belt that I was going to go out and succeed.
That's great. Okay, Carolyn, you started the question off. When you are talking about team members and what the characteristics are that you look for in team members, you were talking about work ethic. What are you guys looking for? If you sat down and you wanted to pick up 1 or 2 new team members, what are the most important characteristics that team member can display to you to be picked up on your team?
So I would say, for us, the biggest characteristic is determination, work ethic, team player. You can't be about yourself. Everybody has to help as a team. And you have to be wanting to make a change. You have to be wanting to commit, set goals. Like, not everybody. Some people want to sell. I have agents on my team sell 60 homes a year. I have some that say I want to sell 25. It's fine, but whatever you're committing to, you got to do the work to do it. It's not about talking. You got to perform.
Great. Characteristics, Karriem.
Yeah.
A big thing I preach to people is be willing to do the next right thing. So,
Willing to do the next
right thing.
yeah, because, I want people, their character has to be that I don't have to worry that they're going to be doing something shady. I
Love
can
it.
teach you real estate. I can teach you, all of the things, the technicalities of all this, but I can't teach you good character. So I want people that are first of, high character, and then the work ethic also has to match, but I can even somewhat teach that. But, you have to be willing to do the next right thing.
I love that.
To be a part
That's
of my team.
great.
Yeah,
Jen,
I would
characteristics.
say characteristics: integrity, work ethic, heart, and one more: no divas.
Love that. No divas. Are there any divas in real estate?
No divas and no divas and no scrubs.
Wow, you felt like you. Oh,
Leave it in
male
your car.
divas.
There's male
divas.
No diva, no gossip.
Wow.
We don't do gossip.
No
divas,
gossip, no divas.
I don't do any of that.
All right, here's your last question as we round out and head to our next segment. You have a team. They want to know what your philosophy is on what message to give their clients. The clients are saying, I can list in November, December, or I can wait till the spring market. What's your one-word answer? Now or wait? Karriem.
Oh, that is such a loaded question.
I know. Now or wait?
Now?
Great. Carolyn, now or wait?
Now.
Now, people,
Now.
now.
What are you waiting for?
Absolutely. Guys, round of applause for our wonderful panelists. Thank you so much.